In the kingdom of Pride Rock, Simba addresses his subjects, announcing that something great is coming. He calls out to Nala, who is waiting for Simba in an oasis. Simba leaves his daughter Kiara in the care of Timon and Pumbaa, but he tells them not to tell Kiara any wild stories. Soon as Simba leaves, they do just that by recounting the Battle of Pride Rock, except Timon and Pumbaa pretend that they were the ones who defeated Scar. Rafiki arrives to tell Kiara a different story, one about her grandfather. As a cub, Mufasa lives with his mother Afia and father Masego in a small area with other animals. Afia tells Mufasa about Milele, a paradise that they might one day call home. It begins to rain, and while the animals rejoice after a drought, the water levels begin to rise, leading to a flood that starts to sweep everyone away. Masego rushes to save Mufasa, but an elephant crashes into a dam, causing Mufasa to be swept away from his parents. Mufasa spends days floating on a log until he comes upon a river and sees another cub, Taka. Two crocodiles attempt to grab Mufasa, but Taka pulls him out of the river. They are found by Taka's mother, Ishe, who scolds Taka for associating with someone viewed as a stray, but Taka convinces Isha to let Mufasa follow them back home. When they return to Taka's home, Mufasa is met by Taka's father, Obasi, who immediately insults Mufasa for being an outsider. Eshe stands up for Mufasa, but Obasi tells them that he must race Taka to the dead tree and win in order to stay, or else Obasi will eat him. Seeing that Mufasa is lagging behind, Taka lets him win so he can stay, but Mufasa is made to stay with Eshe and the other females. Taka, meanwhile, is happy to have someone like Mufasa, since he has always wanted a brother. Years pass, and Mufasa and Taka have become inseparable. Obasi still looks down upon Mufasa and tells Taka that he will eventually betray him and compromise his chance to succeed him as king of the Pride. Mufasa remains close to Eshe, who has come to view him as a son, but he still longs to reunite with his real parents. Later, the Pride is attacked by two white lions belonging to a group known only as the Outsiders. Mufasa rushes in to defend Aisha, while Taka panics and flees. Mufasa also battles one of the lions, Sachu, and fatally wounds him, while the other lion retreats. Taka is ashamed of himself for running away, but Obasi finally shows Mufasa respect for saving Aisha. Obasi sends a scout to track down the Outsiders, and the scout finds the retreating lion going to his leader, Kiros, who rules with his two sisters, Aqua and Amara. Kiros is enraged to learn that the lion left Sachu, his son, for dead, and he has the other lions tear the surviving lion apart. The scout goes back to warn Obasi that the Outsiders have two lions for every one of them, and that they are heading their way. The next day, Kiros and his lions show up to attack Obasi and his pride, forcing Mufasa and Taka to flee. They go over a waterfall to safety, but another white lion jumps in after them. The two manage to escape safely and start to move on their own to find Milele. On their journey, they are found by a lioness, Sarabi, who was quietly tracking them. They are joined by Sarabi's personal scout, Zazu. Nearby, a younger Rafiki is exiled from his community with the other monkeys due to his supposed visions. One of his friends, Junia, is sad to see him go, but Rafiki is hopeful for what comes next. Rafiki encounters the lions and Zazu, joining them on their quest to find Milele after the lions try to eat him. Mufasa later talks to Rafiki since he doesn't immediately trust the mandrill, but they come to an understanding since Rafiki seems to know what Mufasa has been going through. Mufasa starts to lead the group toward Milele, while Kiros and the Outsiders start to track their scent after killing off Obasi, Esha, and the rest of their pride. Taka expresses a romantic interest in Sarabi, but he asks Mufasa for advice because he has not spent time around females as much as he did growing up. Mufasa tries to give him some words, such as pointing out the scent of flowers that she carries, but Taka ends up being awkward around Sarabi. Zazu soon spots the Outsiders coming for them, so Sarabi causes an elephant stampede by throwing a beehive onto the ground. She gets knocked over and is nearly trampled until Mufasa shields her body. After evading the outsiders and surviving the stampede, Mufasa tries to give Taka the credit for saving Sarabai. The group goes to hide out at some snowy mountains. They cover their tracks to ensure the outsiders cannot locate them. At night, Sarabai tells Mufasa she knows it was him who saved her, as well as knowing the flowers of the land she originates from. They start to fall in love, but Taka sees this and feels betrayed by Mufasa. He locates Kiros and the outsiders and forms an alliance with them to bring Mufasa down. The group eventually makes it to Milele, which is just as beautiful as Mufasa imagined it would be. Unfortunately, Kiros and the outsiders have tracked them down thanks to Taka leaving clues behind. Mufasa learns Taka is responsible, with his justification being that Mufasa has taken everything that was meant for him. After a brief scuffle with Kiros, Mufasa goes to rally the other animals in the valley to stand together in the face of adversity, even though some of them blame him for bringing the outsiders to their land. Mufasa falls down into a cave, where Kiros goes after him. The other lionesses, led by Sarabi, fight back against the outsiders. Taka finds Mufasa and Kiros, then jumps in to take a swipe meant for Mufasa, causing Kiros to slash his face and give Taka his iconic scar. Just as Aqua and Amara prepare to go for the kill, the rock they are standing on begins to collapse and crumble due to the larger animals charging all over the place, sending the outsiders plummeting to their deaths. Mufasa and Kiros fall into the water, but Kiros is crushed by a falling boulder and dragged further into the water. Mufasa swims up, and Taka considers letting Mufasa drown, but he pulls him up. The other animals come to view Mufasa as their king, even though he initially declines the opportunity and doesn't see himself as a leader. Rafiki convinces him that he brought the animals together, and they bow to him in respect. Zazu orders Mufasa to banish Taka, but Mufasa chooses to forgive him, though he refuses to call Taka by his name. He decides to go by Scar as a reminder of his crimes. Moments later, Mufasa is reunited with Afia, though she confirms that Masego is no longer living. Mufasa, now with a new family, ascends to Pride Rock and lets out a mighty roar. Rafiki finishes the story in the present day. Kiara tells Rafiki she wishes she met Mufasa, but he tells her that Mufasa lives within her. She looks up to the sky and starts roaring, just as Mufasa's face appears in the clouds and seems to roar back. Simba and Nala come home to Kiara with their new cub, her brother Kion. Kiara then proceeds to tell her brother the story of a great king